Okay, hi guys. This is your next cooking lesson. Um, this one, it's going to look like a lot, but the recipe is really easy. And I'm showing you to put together a whole meal. So I'm going to show you everything we have. Today we're going to make stuffed shrimp. So um, so if you look here, I have celery, I have a half an onion. These are the peeled garlic. Oh, sorry, you can't see. These are the peeled garlic cloves that you get in the Publix. I use more of these because they're not as strong as the fresh ones. So I have like three large ones and two small ones. A half onion, like I said. I have scallions. That's for part of our recipe. Some bacon. I have 2 tablespoons of butter. A little bit of a baguette. A lemon, some petite peas. This is 1 cup of jasmine rice. I have it on a plate. And I have 2 bunches of asparagus. Okay. And, oh, the crab meat. I got this at Western Beef, and I'm going to talk to you about that tomorrow too, because my last recipe tomorrow will be something that you guys are going to like a lot. It's really fancy. So this is lump crab meat. I like it better than the claw. It holds up nicer. And then I have shrimp. I actually got 2 different kinds. These big ones are called 1620s. That means there's 16 or 20 of them to a pound. And these ones are smaller. They're like 2130s or something. And that means there's 21 or 30 of these to a pound. So I'm going to show you how to peel these. They're already partially peeled, but I'll show you how to do that. And I have some Old Bay seasoning, and I just have some Italian seasoning, a little bit of salt, and some cayenne pepper. And these are the pots I'm going to be using right here. So, and a sheet tray to do the stuffed shrimp on. Okay, so I talked to you. I don't know if you saw my video yesterday, but whatever. The first thing I like to do is mise en place. In French, that means everything in its place. So I'm going to prep all the food before I even start to cook, and that way everything is ready when I start cooking, and we don't waste any time. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut up this bacon. So I fold it in half, cut it into strips. I just want little pieces. It's better when it's cold, even frozen. Slightly frozen is good. It cuts a lot easier, but I left this out while I was getting all the food prepared. In any case, I have it like this. So it's like little pieces. You can see it's all a little crumbly. It's going to be really nice. It's going to break up really small when we cook it. I showed you all a trick yesterday if you watched how to slice an onion, how to dice an onion really quick. So half of a small onion, slice down the lines this way. I have created a base so it doesn't roll around. It's nice and flat on one side. And then I slice through once horizontally for this one because it's small. And then you cut it. And it's all nicely diced. Okay. The garlic, I showed you a little trick with that yesterday as well. Take your knife, put it on top of the garlic, and smash. Chop it up a little bit, a couple times, and then I'm going to add a little bit of kosher. This is kosher sea salt, just a little sprinkle on top, and that's a natural abrasive. It helps it to break it down really a lot finer. That's one part that's fighting me. Okay, so as you can see, it's broken down nice and chopped finely. Okay, celery. I have 2 stalks of celery here I'm going to use. Last night I didn't use the leaves And tonight I'm not going to use them either. Sometimes I use them in soups and stocks, but I don't need them for this. They tend to be a little more bitter than the rest of the stalk of celery. Okay. So I make little strips of this, cut it down so it's workable pieces. And then the same thing, I'm going to dice it up small just like the onion. Okay, so I have my mise en place. This is what it looks like. I didn't put it on film, but I did chop up the green onion just into little circles. So I have my garlic, my bacon, butter, onions, celery, and my green onion. I also opened my can of crab meat. The lemon, just going to slice it so I have it ready to go. So I'm going to heat up my stove, my pan in the middle, and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I have the pan hot. I put one little piece of bacon in there. You can see it. It's when it's starting to sizzle. Now I can add the rest of the bacon. Okay, and let that cook until it's browned, and then scrape it off and move it to the side and dump out some of the oil, and then I'll show you what's next. Okay, so while my bacon's cooking, I'm going to show you the shrimp. I have the bacon at about like 7. If you have an electric stove, it's like a number 7. I don't want it to burn. I just want it to be nice and crisp. Got to keep an eye on it. So I'm going to bring it over to the sink. While I was prepping all that, the shrimp is already pretty much defrosted. It's still a little bit frozen, but it's really easy to work with when it's frozen. So I take it by the legs and I pull. And I like to take even the tail. If I can get the shell off the tail, that's great. You know, when you go to a restaurant and they leave the tail on and some tomato sauce, like a shrimp parmesan, and you got to fight with the tail, and you're wearing a nice white shirt, it doesn't always work out too nicely. So it's my thing. I take the tail right off it. So I'll show you again up close. It's one of the big shrimps. So here's the feet, the legs. I just take it and I kind of pinch and I pull back and then pull the tail. I kind of tug at the end and it comes off. Oh, there's one little piece left. It comes off and it's the whole shrimp with nothing on it. So I dumped out most of the oil, most of the grease. I know it's shady, but if I put all the lights on, you guys can't see. And there's a little bit in there. I'm going to add my butter. Put it back on the stove, still at 7. Add my butter, and I'm going to sweat my vegetables. And I don't know if I told you last night, but sweating just means like you want to partially cook them, like get them a little bit soft and almost translucent. Like the onion, you want the onion to be a little bit translucent. So I'm melting my butter, getting a good temperature in there, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it from where you are, but there's some fond in the bottom, F-O-N-D, fond. And that's left over from the bacon, and that really gives it some nice flavor. So first I'm going to add my garlic and my onions. When I chopped up the green onion before, I saved some because I want to put some in my rice. I saved half for the shrimp, and I want to put half in my rice. All right, so my onions and my garlic are all nicely sweated with the butter. I'm going to add my celery and my scallions. By the way, I'm so sorry. I should have mentioned I do use a little bit of white wine in this recipe. So that will help lift the fond off the bottom of the pan. Okay, because right now it's not lifting, but it will once I add the white wine and the lemon juice. Okay, so that's that. Once I have that going, I can go and put my bacon bits back in there. Okay. And we're going to let that sweat and cook down a little bit. Okay, that's pretty well sweated. They're nice and I can show you. They're You can see they've been cooked through and they're tender. Now's the time to add some of your spices. I do about, this is the Italian seasonings. It's oregano, basil. I do about a teaspoon of that. Probably a teaspoon of Old Bay. About a half a lemon juice, fresh squeezed. You can use bottled lemon juice too. And a little shot of Chardonnay. Okay, you can smell it. You can smell the herbs cooking in there and the spices and the white wine. I let most of the white wine cook off. It's still a little moist. All I'm doing right now is pulling this off the stove. I don't need it anymore. At this point, this is a jasmine rice. I'm going to boil two. Here's a little trick for you too. I start one oven all the way up. One stove top all the way up, and another one I keep on about 2. Okay, I'll tell you why in a second. So it's 1 cup of jasmine rice to 2 cups of water. Okay, and I'm going to bring that to a boil. I'm going to put a little salt in there, maybe like a half a teaspoon. And then I'm going to just bring it to a boil first before I even put the rice in. Meanwhile, what I like to do with my rice so it doesn't become so sticky is I like to rinse it a couple of times. I use a strainer and I try and rinse it until it's clear. When the water comes out underneath and it's nice and clear. Right now it's kind of milky in color. Okay. And after a couple of seconds, it's pretty well clear. Okay. Okay, my water's boiling. As soon as I got it boiling, I go over, I get my rice, throw my rice in. The trick with rice, a Chinese friend of mine told me once you get it boiling, and you put the lid on it, you don't ever lift up the lid again until it's done. I'm going to lift up the lid just to give it a stir before I bring it over to, I have it on a really high heat, and then I'm going to bring it down to a lower heat. So this one I had on 9, which is the highest my stove goes, and this one's on 2. So I'm going to go from, when it starts boiling, I'm going to go down to a 2, and I'm going to put the lid back on. I'm not even going to touch it. So you can see the steam coming out. It's ready to go. Give it a quick stir so it doesn't stick on the bottom. Lid goes back on, this side goes off, and it goes over on the side that's 2. And then you just leave it, it takes about probably like 15 minutes, and that's it. All right, so I'll show you the next step.